Imagine as you lying down on the bed, you want to all you want to do is just sleep, don't want to do anything. You prepare for the night after having a hard working day. Then all of a sudden, gunshots, bam, explosions. Where all those noises come from? It was outside your door. Then you get frustrated. You get up from the bed and open the door. Well, it was actually your brother playing video games at late night. Of course, you feel frustrated about it because the game your brother played was maybe fun. Um, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and my name is Affandi bin Ariffin. I'm from Group B, and for my ELC590 informative speech, my topic is about value video games, good or bad. Well, what do you think? And for me personally, it is a good thing to have violent video games. Well, in most cases, people thought that majority of video games are too horrid to play because of gun violence and other violent actions. Well, uh, that not be, may be the case, but it is actually a good thing to have some violent elements, and people uh, and violent video games are actually kind of fun. Well, there are two reasons for why having violent video games are good. From Encyclopedia of Britannica, um, one of the reasons why violent video games are good is it can provide opportunities for children to explore consequences of violent actions. This can also lead to children having uh, can differentiate whether it is a good thing or bad thing to have violent actions. It can develop moral compasses, whether the actions are good or bad. Well, um, for there are many types of video games out there, and for example, military games. The well-known military games are such as Call of Duty, and the game the game taught us about a bit about historical events such as world wars and wars happening all around the world. And the game can be a bit real because as you as you're playing the game, it 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 shows us the role of a soldier going to a war, and we as the players uh, can do teamwork and focus towards shooting our enemies down, and there are more benefits coming from this. And the game can be actually fun. It can be multiplayer online, and of course there are a bit of violent actions. There are some there are those are the good reasons why I think games such as Call of Duty are good, and they don't necessarily feel like it is always a bad thing to play such games, but it is just video games. For my next reason, it is also from Encyclopedia Britannica. The next reason is it can release our stress and anger, catharsis. That means it can uh, we can we can throw out our negative emotions towards something. Well, in this case, in the game, it can also lead to less real world aggression. This statement, I think it's true, and to prove it, there are uh, examples there are more video game examples such as sports games, fighting games. As you can see, they are a bit about violent actions, but not necessarily um, everything is violent. And to prove that, the players can have some a bit about achievement of playing the game. When they win, they feel happy. They can release their stress, and it can be fun playing with friends and family. And people always thought that the game can be brutal. Well, it is not the case. It is depend on the game you play, and uh, just the main purpose of playing video games is just to have fun. For my next topic, I would like to show a graph about having about people having to play video games from Harvard Medical School, PEW Internet and American Life Project from September 2008. Um, the graph shows that teens who play video games are about 97%. That's a lot of number. And next is teens who play racing and puzzle video games with little or no violence, 75%. Next is teens who play action video games. Well, some of them have contained violence, which is 66%. And parents of young video game players who say that the games do not affect their child one way or the other, 62%. If you look at this graph, there are big numbers, and I can agree to this graph because the video games that doesn't affect anything about having to lead world real world aggression, and for that it is just video games, and we all are here to play video games just to have fun. Well, to sum up my speech for this ELC 590 informative speech, I will there I would like to recap about the reasons. First is uh, the opportunity for children to realize uh, they can differentiate whether it is a good or bad thing to play video games, and the other one is to release stress and anger. For this summation, I would like to show some video game examples. There are other video games that are fun for all ages and mild adult content. They contain violence, of course, but they not necessarily mean anything brutal, such as Grand Theft Auto, uh, a run and gun game, PUBG, Resident Evil, and Mobile Legends. Uh, for all ages game, there are such as Minecraft, fighting games, sports games, and Final Fantasy, the RPG game. There are more benefits coming from having violence in video games, but um, not it is not a bad thing to have violence all the time. It can be fun. Just try it and you'll see. And thank you for listening to my speech, and just have fun.